Okay, I think we are live, folks. I think we are live. I'll wait till I see some people watching before I use my breath to speak. Hello, Vegan Pixie Warrior. Oh, there we go. We've got 3 people watching now. We're getting there. We're getting there. Welcome everybody to Grumpy Vegan Grandad. I know it's been a while, but as you know, I've been through a bit of a rough patch. I've got a special guest here. I've got my dad with me. He's there. So, close to my heart. I've got him close to my heart now. So it's really comforting. So today we have a junior doctor working in the hospitals, and I came across this young lady while browsing on Instagram, and I noticed the Instagram and that she was vegan, and I thought, whoa, let's take a closer look. And Doctor Seeta Shah replied to my hello, Peace with Reese, replied to my request to join us for a quick chat. What a good looking chat. Oh dear me. Are you, chat or chap? Are you talking about me? Are you talking about me? Well, listen, we've got 9 people watching. I hope it's going to jump up a little bit more as the stream gets out there. Now, apart from Seeta, we have got another special guest, and yeah, it's going to be a great chat, people. We're going to be talking about the health service, or the unhealth service, as I like to call it. And any questions whatsoever you want to ask, any probing questions you want to ask, anything, yeah, what you're talking about, GV. Oh, I'll tell you what, Rebecca just trolls my streams when I do live streams. It's ridiculous. I really should ban her. I really should ban her. But anyway, without further ado, let's get Dr. Seeta Shah on, and let's start. Hi, Slightly Crazy Vegan. Hello there.
Hi.
It's great to have you on, and thank you so much for giving up some time to come and chat to this
It's not
silly
a
bugger.
problem at all.
Do you want to give a little introduction, please, for everybody out there?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Seeta Shah. I'm 29 years old. I've been vegan for just over 6 years now, and I'm a junior doctor working in the NHS. So I've been born and brought up in London, but currently I'm working down in the East Coast in Ramsgate. So yeah, it's lovely here by the sea. Unfortunately, today the weather's not so nice. Bit
Yeah,
of a
well,
storm going on down here.
yeah, it's pretty much, if you ever think of moving to Manchester, right, look outside now, and that is 364.5 days of the year. That's what Manchester's like.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you're working in a hospital. What? And
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later. Let's push that to one side for the moment. What I'm interested in, first of all, is why you are vegan, because you're not just a plant-based person. You are very active on your Instagram. So let's just bring that Instagram up for a second. Let's have a look
Yeah.
at Seeta's Instagram. Where are we? There we go. So guys, if you would please take a look and follow. There's lots of recipes on there. There's activism on there, and some lovely messages like keep smiling people. Some recommendations for the, oh, them look nice. What's a them?
That's bubble tea.
Oh my word. So
The
you do
vegan goodies. Yeah.
fitness, yeah, lovely. We like a bit of fitness. Seaspiracy, what did you think of Seaspiracy?
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good. It was a really good watch, really well done as well. And yeah, a great eye opener actually. There
It's
was a lot of
it
stuff in there which I literally had no idea about. So yeah, it was
yeah
a really good watch.
yeah, it was amazing, and some of the information on there was just like, wow, You know,
Mm.
I mean, I mean, I knew what was happening in the oceans from my research and from what I see, but it was the fact that these Southeast Asian prawn fishing boats cannot make a profit unless they use slave labor. It's like,
I know.
wow,
It's
wow,
terrible.
the
Yeah.
human cost. And then if they complain or say anything, they push them overboard. It's like, what the
Mm.
hell? Wow, it's just unreal.
It's
So
mind blowing.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's Dr. Seeta's Instagram page. So please go over and follow, because there's some amazing stuff on there. A good mixture of different recipes as well, because your heritage is, I mean, we were talking before the stream, your heritage is quite all over the place, isn't it? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
origins
So yeah, my grandparents from both sides are from India, and then both of my parents were born in Kenya, and they moved to London. My dad moved when I think he was 17. My mum was a bit younger. So me and my brother have been born and brought up in London. But yeah, we have, yeah, I love traveling as well. Hence why, I
yeah,
pick things up from all over the world.
yeah.
And I just love cooking different cuisines. So yeah, that's all on my Instagram as well.
Hello, Mooncat. If you really are that desperate for attention, hello, Mooncat.
Hi, Minkat.
So tell me. I mean, the reason I asked about your heritage is because a lot of Indians are vegetarian, so that sort of move to veganism isn't such an enormous step. But what's your
Yeah.
story on the vegan front?
So yeah, I was born into a vegetarian family. So we didn't eat any eggs either. So it was primarily just milk and cheese and products containing milk, which is what I was having. And it was actually my brother who went vegan first. So he made the change probably about 6.5 years ago or so. I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong. Um, so he made that transition first. And he's always been someone that I've looked up to. He's 6 years older than me. Um, and we are extremely close. So I was like, maybe I should look into, what veganism is about. And I did my own research into it. I watched a few documentaries as well, What the Health Cowspiracy. And then it was kind of like an overnight transition for me. So I I just told myself I can't be part of the cruelty and the dairy industry. Um, Unfortunately, prior to going vegan, I had no idea like how bad the dairy industry actually is and the
Yeah,
suffering that the animals go through, which I think a lot of people are just not aware of that, and they think being vegetarian is enough, when it really isn't. So yeah, so it was that pure realization of how bad the dairy industry actually is, the suffering that like the poor calves and
mm,
all the other animals go through, and then yeah, that was my driving force. um so I think the thing I found hardest to give up was the cheese. Like that's the thing I was craving. But then because of, I always had that at the forefront of my mind about the suffering of the animals, I was like, no, there's no way I can be a part of that, knowing now what I know. Um, so I didn't want to be ignorant to it anymore. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna have anything to do with it. And then it extended further into making sure I don't have any like non-vegan products. So having a look at all of like my skincare products, my makeup, my shoes, handbags, and just proactively making sure that when I do buy stuff, it's all cruelty-free vegan products. So I took
mm.
it yeah to that step further.
I mean, you have sort of cancelled out my probing question. Was did you go with the diet? And obviously no, it was total ethics from the start. My journey was, I started for
Mm,
health, and then because of
mm,
what I was researching led me on to these films, The
Yeah.
Earthlings and Dominion, and then I made the ethical choice. I didn't realize I was plant based. I always assumed that a vegan diet meant just that was it. You know, you cut out all animal
Mm.
products, and so I'm glad you said that. I think it's a great opportunity to bring on your brother actually, because
Yeah.
I think what we're going to say and what we're going to talk about applies to both of you. So I'm going to bring on Mahesh, people, and it's Seeta's brother, and he is actually a qualified GP. Seeta, you're going into training for this soon, aren't you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so, we're going to bring him on board now. And hello, Mahesh.
Hi.
Mesh, I've seen you've shortened it, Mesh.
Yes.
So great to have you on board. I mean, this wasn't planned because me and Seeta were talking before the stream, and she said, "Oh, my brother's downstairs." I said, "Well, would he come on the stream?" And she went, "Yeah, of course, yeah." So it's really cool to have you both on board, because I can get a feel for how this. I call it an industry, but the NHS, it's a bit like a massive business, isn't it? And now, previous to this, I don't know whether you're aware, Mesh. I did a little documentary film about allopathic medicine and how these rich Americans sort of brought it into being, and they basically got people to call basically all this herbal medicine that we've been using for thousands of years, and to call them quacks, and to rubbish it, so that they could bring on board this system of medicine that they're using now, which is basically, you cut yourself, we'll put a plaster on it, but we won't tell you not to climb up that tree where you're going to hurt yourself. So I mean, is it a true sort of, I mean, I call it the only conspiracy theory that I can prove is true. And it seems to me that it is very orientated to fixing things when they've gone wrong, and certain companies that produce these drugs, etc., are making a hell of a lot of money. And the only contentious issue is, are we being kept ill to keep the pharmaceutical industries rich? Because, you know, and this is the question I want to ask you sort of both, is like, why don't doctors tell people to go to a plant-based diet when they've got heart disease, they've had a stroke? Why don't they? When they've got erectile dysfunction, one of the precursors to heart disease, is like, don't give them a pill, don't give them these pills that you see on TV every 5 minutes. It must be that prevalent. Why don't they tell them? What's your views on that?
Go for it, sis.
Come on, hit us hard.
So unfortunately it is something that I see every single day, and it even extends to the fact that when these patients are in hospital, and like you mentioned, some of them come in with heart problems, they've had a heart attack, and then even the food on the menu that they get given is white bread, cheese, fatty foods. So I think it's a problem throughout the whole system. And I think it stems from medical school and the training that we get given. In medical school, unfortunately, there's hardly any training on nutrition, and I think
24 hours.
I know, I think it's literally like half a day or a day of like our 6-year course. And unfortunately, even that day of training, there's nothing really related to a plant-based diet or anything like that. And I think it's the lack of education on doctors' parts as well. Like, unless you proactively take it upon yourself to research into a plant-based diet and the benefits of it, there's no way that you're going to be able to feed that information to your patients. And a lot of it is also leading by example, and unfortunately there's not many doctors out there that lead a healthy lifestyle themselves. So if you're not leading a healthy lifestyle yourself, there's only really so much you can say to your patients. And even if you are standing in front of your patient and you're not looking the healthiest yourself, I'm sure that patient is probably not going to listen to what you're really telling them.
I mean, sorry to interrupt, but I got when I first went vegan, when I first totally went plant-based, I went and got my MOT done, and my cholesterol was hovering around about the 5.
Yeah.
And then I got one in year 2, and it was 4. And then I asked my doctor for another one on year 3, and he's like, "Well, you've had 2 already. Why do you want another one?" I said, "I just want to see another one." And when I went for the 3rd time, I went into his office, sat down, and I goes, "What is it now?" He says it's 2.2. He says, "How the hell have you done that?" He was surprised. I'm like, plant-based diet, and he's wow. When the doctor says, "Wow, how did you do that?" It's like, "What do you mean you didn't know?"
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
I agree. I agree with Seeta. I think it's fair to say, firstly, that doctors go into, students go into medicine because they want to look after people, they want to care for people. But then it's the training that we receive that we're bound to get chronic diseases as we get older, and there's no way to reverse them. Forget about thinking about preventing them. There's no way to reverse a disease, and so we then get taught about, here's a pill to try and control the symptom or the ailment. Whereas there's this plethora of wisdom from our ancients as well as modern scientific research which shows the wonders of lifestyle and plant-based nutrition on preventing, improving and reversing chronic disease processes. And in where I am in general practice, that's what we basically deal with, is chronic disease. I think the modern medical setting is great for acute problems. Someone who might come in with a broken leg or something like that, you'd definitely want to get their leg reset rather than handing them a carrot straight away. but for chronic diseases that I see day in, day out, the blood pressures, the cholesterols, the heart disease, the diabetes, the hormonal problems, thyroid problems, cancer as well, all of these disease processes stem from how we live, really.
I mean, there's even research going on now linking the gut microbiome, and they're calling it the second brain. And they're linking it to all sorts, like depression and anxiety and obesity, because these things send messages to the brain and say, right, stop eating now, you've had enough, that's it, we're full, don't send any more. And it's like, what needs to be done? What needs to be done somebody needs to be a pioneer, and somebody needs to stand up. I mean, I've seen article after article about doctors complaining that they don't get any nutritional sort of training, and it's like, what's stopping this change? Is it being suppressed by the pharmaceutical industry? Is it Rockefeller still having his influence over the whole system? Is it human greed that's stopping this happening? I mean, Seeta, do you not get frustrated?
Yeah, no, it is extremely frustrating, especially when you know as well that you're not giving patients all that you can give them to help them out, and just by throwing pills at them and medications which is just going to mask the symptoms for a while, and then you know in your head that this patient is probably going to bounce back to hospital in a month's time with the same issues, if not worse, and then we'll be just giving them more pills to mask the symptoms for another month or 2, and then they'll be back again. So yeah, it is extremely frustrating, but unfortunately there are like the nice guidelines and things that we do have to follow as doctors, especially working in the NHS as well. But having said that, you can openly talk to your patients about their diet, and I do always do this. I do make a point to talk to them about their diet and what they're eating, and I do give them advice as well, more sort of generic advice, but patients are very interested, and they do take your advice on board as well. So I think there is scope to give them some information, but then I feel like there is only so much you can give working in the NHS. And yeah, at times I do feel like I do have to, unfortunately, be quite careful about what I'm saying to my patients as well. But yeah, I think that there can definitely be a lot more that can be done in terms of sharing with them the knowledge that we have about plant-based diet and other sort of remedies.
Yeah, I certainly remember that when I settled into general practice, and I thought, right, great, I can start practicing now. And it's actually only when I got into practice that I started to realize, wow, what's going on? I thought I was going to really be helping people and getting them better, but actually when I put them on this drug, they're just coming back with a higher blood sugar, or they're still having that heart attack. What is going on? And thankfully I did have an upbringing where we were both brought up in a health conscious sort of environment, so there was always that undercurrent there. So I went back to that, and that's when I started to really sort of realize, actually by this time I was already actually just had gone vegan, and I started looking into the health aspects of a plant-based diet, and I realized that, wow, there is so much information here that we can use to help prevent chronic disease and even reverse it. So I started bringing this into my general practice role, and there's only so much you can do given the limited amount of time that you have. And there's also, in terms of maybe what patients want as well, some patients maybe just want a pill for their ill. But in fact, there is a growing trend of more patients wanting something different. So in my practice, I do try and give diet, lifestyle advice as much as I can, but because it can be limited, I decided to branch out and actually get a diploma in naturopathic medicine and nutritional therapy. So on the side as well, I've set up my own private nutritional therapy practice,
wow.
which is called the Green Doctor.
Have you got a website? Can I Google it?
Yeah, sure. It's simply thegreendoctor.uk.
The word doctor, or the shortened?
Yeah, the word. Thegreendoctor.uk. And
UK.
Yeah.
Thegreendoctor.uk.
.uk, correct.
.uk. Oh, right, one
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
Have you got an Instagram page as well?
I do, but I admit I'm not as active as my sister.
Right.
I'm not sure the last time I actually added something on there, but but essentially what I provide through the Green Doctor is a service where people can consult with me for nutritional advice, dietary advice, transitioning to a plant-based diet, as well as people who might have chronic problems that they might be going to see their GP for, commonly gut problems such as bloating, cramps, all sorts of different sort of gastro stomach type issues, and we look at things like, what is the root cause of something like IBS, which you just get told is in your head, or you get told you're too stressed, and we look down to the microbiome level, and not just look at how to correct the microbiome, but also looking at what may have caused the microbiome to become imbalanced in the first place through diet, but also through lifestyle, through your stress, through activity, inactivity, sleep, all of these sorts of things. So really taking a holistic approach, and yeah, we go through that, and hopefully try to bring the person to a better quality of life.
Wow, that's an amazing website, and you've got links to Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn there as well.
Yep.
So people, I've put it in the chat, the link to this. So go and take a look at this. Some of the recipes on there now. Those brownies, I'm like, my stomach's rumbling already. It's like, but yeah.
Still a lot of work to do on the site. It's actually pretty recent, but I'll be getting more content on there as time goes on.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So this is something. So you're allowed to do stuff like this as doctors? Is of a private?
Yeah, absolutely. The only caveat is that I'm not allowed to offer this service to my NHS patients that I have in my general practice
Oh, I'm gonna
because of a.
swear. Oh, fucking hell! It's so annoying. Fuck.
Yeah,
It is. It is.
yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Mm.
Honestly.
There are so many patients who do want this. So if they're happy to know more information on this, I do maybe tell them to come back at the end of the clinic to sit down and go over things in a bit more detail, and we might just have a few sessions like that, just informal sessions to give more information out. And a lot of my patients in the NHS setting have really felt the benefits of a more holistic and approach, and looking at their life, looking at various aspects, their nutrition, their sleep quality, their stress, their exercise, looking at those things, and they really have shown great improvement.
Level Joy. Level Joy's our Queen Bee expert. She's done a lot of videos on bees. So follow Level Joy, people, if you want to see some of the content. She says, "Love the interview so far. What do Seeta and Mahesh think of the use of honey in medicine or other medical contexts? Is it necessary, and do you know of any alternatives?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
go on.
Do you want to?
Go on, sis.
No, I know. I know a lot of vegans don't actually consume honey. It's something that we don't consume either, do we? Because we don't
No.
No, I
class
don't.
that as being vegan or plant-based. In terms of it being used in the medical setting, I assume is that sort of for like home remedies or?
Well, to be honest with you,
It can-
to be honest with you, I saw somewhere that, and this was before I was vegan because I was a big lover of honey.
Yeah.
I saw something on TV that said lemon and honey is the only real cure for a bad cough. Cough medicines do not work, and lemon and honey is the one proven to work. So that's the sort of stuff being put out there. But is there any active ingredients in honey that would actually do that?
I'm not sure if they're I'm not sure of the exact active ingredients that there may be in honey, purely because I haven't looked into it, for the reasons that Sita mentioned, that we don't consume it, and because of being vegan. But I have seen honey being used for wounds, and wound care, and I think that does happen quite often in general practice as well. But for me personally, I I don't use it myself, and I don't actually tend to advise these sorts of things to patients or private clients or whoever it may be, just because it doesn't sit correctly with me.
No.
It doesn't sit with my values. So yeah, that's probably what I'd say about that.
I mean, what is it? It is processed sugar with a preservative in it. That's all it
Right.
basically is.
That's
Essentially.
it. There's no nutritional content to it, really. It is, as you say, it's free sugar. So in my eyes, anything that is a refined or free sugar is, especially if consumed, can lead to a sugar spike and subsequent inflammation in the body. So that would be my take on it, really.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, let's play a little game. I've got a game here now. I've just made it up because this is what I do. I'm presently being studied for ADHD. I may have ADHD, and I'm at the final stage. So I do think outside the box a lot. So this game, I want you to say whether it's definitely true, definitely false, or it's not proven. Okay. And we're not holding you to it. Don't worry. We're not gonna try and get you struck off if you get it wrong. Okay. So dairy products contain estrogen that can feminize men and give them moobs in middle age.
For me, it's true.
Yeah, I would say definitely true.
Absolutely true. And it's also to do with so the imbalance that it can cause in the body between estrogens and testosterones. Not just dairy, but if I could just put in, there's loads of other things that we use that we don't realize in our day-to-day lives that can actually.
Oh, really?
be what are called hormone disruptors, which can imbalance the sort of estrogen sort of levels in the body.
Oh,
so
spill the hormones then, mate. Spill the hormones. That's here.
There's many things. So yes, we know from a dietary perspective that the dairy and animal products can do this, but also things that we might consider to be cleansing products for the house. Things like air fresheners, detergents, obviously plastics. All of these sorts of things can be considered as hormone disruptors,
Really?
and can sort of generally affect what we call the endocrine system, the hormone system of the body. So yeah, I would be saying, as well as dairy, there are these other things that we have in our lifestyle that can also affect hormonal balance.
And
Okay, that's interesting.
a quick tip about the home cleaning and detergents. So what I do is I have lemon essential oil, and it's pure essential oil, and just all you need is a couple of drops of the lemon essential oil, mix it in water, and then that's a really good cleaner, like a window cleaner, cleaning for like your mirrors, surfaces. So you don't have to expose yourself to any chemicals. You can just use that.
Yeah.
And it smells amazing as well. So
yeah, well, there's lots of remedies. I clean my microwave out by putting a cut lemon into a bowl of water and then microwaving it, and it cleans. Also, vinegar for windows and newspaper.
Vinegar's very good.
Newspaper. Lemon juice for cleaning surfaces. Yeah, there's lots of stuff out there. Alternative. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's think of another one. Okay. Right. Cheese contains concentrated casomorphine, and it's also very fatty. So we get a double sort of dopamine response when we eat cheese. So we get the fat response that is an ancient response, and we also get the concentrated casomorphine response, and that's why we actually don't like cheese. We're addicted to cheese. Is that true? Is that true? If also just we don't know yet.
Yeah, I'd say true.
True.
Yeah.
Wow.
True, absolutely. And interesting point, because you mentioned about the gut microbiome earlier as well, and that's a lot of what I do in my private sort of clinic as well, is working on the gut microbiome. But these foods, so you mentioned the cheese, but animal products in general, they change the terrain of the gut. They change the kind of bacteria that you have in the gut. And you spoke about the gut brain and the brain to gut connection. And that's a very, very important a key player here is the animal products, the processed foods, how they can cause inflammation in the gut, change the kind of bacteria you have in your gut, and lead to kind of whole body inflammation, leading to heart disease, leading to can even lead to brain inflammation, leading to things like anxiety, depression, these sorts of things. So yeah, cheese as well as other animal products have a far-reaching effect in that sense, in a negative way.
And also, this isn't a true. I forget that game now. I've enjoyed that so far. But I have. See, what I do is I pick up things. And when I hear them a lot, I realise that, so far what I've picked up is quite true, but someone else, I think it might have been Mike the Vegan who mentioned it. Now, one of the major problems we've mentioned one, erectile dysfunction, but also lower back pain. Now, the way Mike explained this was the smallest sort of arteries in the body are in the penis and in the small of the back. So these are the first ones to block. So a lot of people's lower back pain, obviously if they've hurt themselves, that's completely different. But when you start getting pain in the back or you start getting erectile dysfunction, that could be a sign, a precursor to blocked arteries. So
yeah, that's correct. I mean, I'll give you one example from a client that I had who had been to see their GP with chest pain, so angina, so chest pain when walking or running, and when he went for his angiogram, he had really, really narrowed blood vessels, and he was put on the list for a triple bypass operation, so open heart surgery. And he came to me and he asked me, look, is there anything I can do? So I said, look, yes, there is. We can change your lifestyle. We can put in a whole food, plant-based diet, and let's see where we get to. And within a couple of weeks, he came back to me and he said, this is amazing. I've got no chest pains. I can walk, I can run, do things without any pain. This is incredible. But as you said, he also had chronic lower back pain as well. And that also went as well. And now it's been about 3 or 4 years, and he's been chest pain free. He never needed the surgery, never needed the open heart surgery. So it seems he's reversed his heart disease. He's also got rid of his back pain. And he's doing really, really well. And he's off the medications he was on, reverses diabetes and everything. So yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. The smallest vessels are going to be narrowed or going to be blocked off first, and it's obvious. And then that's obviously a sign that, hey, if you don't look after this, then there's going to be worse things happening with heart attack, strokes.
I mean, you've only got to use common sense to sort of realise this, you know. I mean, it's like if I've got a diesel car, and diesel cars will run on fat that you use in the house. You can tip oil from your frying pan into a diesel car, and it will run on it. But eventually, the injectors will get blocked up. You know, it will run, but eventually it will break the engine. And it is. You can just liken it to this, you know. And I've also likened, and this isn't. I'm not trying to put you down, Mesh, but I liken GPs as mechanics because they do exactly the same job. You come when you've got a problem with your car, they look in a book, they find out what the problem is, or stick a machine on that diagnoses it, and then they send off for a skyrocketing price part for your car, and you know, and it's very similar. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Yeah. Listen, people, if anybody's got any questions or comments, I'm going to start looking at the comment section now and popping things up. Have you seen something, Seeta? If you tell me the time when you saw it, I can pop the comment up on the screen. There's a little time at the end of each.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
There's a lot of comments coming through at the moment.
Just to mention, there's someone here who said ginger lemon mint tea for a bad cough. I think that was when we were talking about the honey and lemon thing. I agree with that. Another really good one, which may be an acquired taste for some people, is turmeric and black pepper. Really, really, really good for inflammation. Really good. The black pepper works to increase or keep the turmeric swimming around in the blood in the body for a longer period of time, and we know that turmeric has many amazing properties. So that's another really good one.
I mean, I use black pepper a lot. People have told me it's good for the gut, so I put black pepper on basically everything. It's not something you can have too much of, is it? It's not like Brazil nuts or anything like that. It's
small amount of black pepper. It's great.
You should always just sprinkle a bit of turmeric as well with the black pepper, so you get the added benefits of the turmeric. And the other thing I have, so I suffer with quite bad migraines. So due to my periods, I get quite bad headaches and migraines. And I actually went to my GP, and they prescribed me quite a strong medication called triptans. It's the class of medication. But I did my own research, and I actually found out that ginger works on the same pathway as these medications. So every time I feel a headache coming on, I just have a bit of fresh ginger in hot water, and in about 30 minutes it just completely alleviates my headache. But they work, and they work on the same pathway. And the side effects of the triptans can be like, the worst side effects are stroke, even death. The worst I know, and the worst side effect of ginger, I guess, is if you just have a lot of it, you may get a bit of an upset stomach. But I mean, that's if you have a lot of ginger, which I
don't like death. I've done it a couple of times and I didn't like it. So I don't like the side effect death. Now, Vegan Pixie Warrior has paid £5. Right, she's nice and generous, and she's giving me a £5 super chat. So please, it looks like she's in desperation here. She's desperate, Dan. That's what she's saying to me. I'm desperate, Dan. I'm suffering with lower back pain due to perimenopause. Can you recommend anything to help?
So yeah, I guess I'll start. So one of the things, obviously, with the perimenopause, you're going to be having a lot of hormonal shifts and hormonal changes. One of the things that I would be saying firstly is just because there's so many different causes for lower back pain. So we've got to first make sure that we know what kind of lower back pain we're dealing with. One of the things I just want to mention firstly is lower back pain with hormonal changes. Sometimes you have to be very careful about the strength of the bones in the spine. So the first thing you'd want to make sure is that the spine, the bone, is strong. So you're not having a problem with the strength of the bones, what we call osteoporosis. So that's really, really important. Also wanting to sort of figure out if you have any issues with nerve impingement, which could be happening, which can send sometimes pains down the leg. So that's really, really important. But what you want to really be doing is, because the perimenopause is a time when the hormones are changing and the estrogen levels are going down, you want to try and firstly bring that estrogen level to some sort of a balance. So that can be done in some great ways through natural whole plant foods. Soya being a good source of phytoestrogens, which, contrary to what mainstream platforms may say, is actually very healthy. Phytoestrogens are actually protective for the body and are great for menopausal symptoms, as well as I believe PMS type of symptoms as well. Flax seeds is another great source to try and help balance hormones. Legumes, green leafy vegetables as well. So a good healthy protein sources are important. Other things such as omega-3 fats, so your flax seeds, your chia seeds, walnuts, green leafy vegetables, they're anti-inflammatory. So getting those anti-inflammatories flowing in, as well as phytonutrients as well. So phytonutrients are nutrients that are specific to plants. So they are anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, anti-allergy, antimicrobial, all of these wonderful things. So getting in lots and lots of different kinds of plants and herbs and all these sorts of things can also help to reduce general inflammation and hopefully help the back. The other important thing is it's not just about food, but it's also about your general lifestyle. So are you stretching the back out? Have you got some exercises that you can do to keep supple, to keep mobile? Is there any stress? Are you sleeping well? Are you comfortable when you're sleeping? Are you sitting well or properly at a desk? So many different things to consider. So, I mean, if that person does want more sort of advice or anything, then more than happy to help out at some point.
Well, Vegan Pixie Warrior is a vegan YouTuber. She's a great activist. She's
great.
She's on her way back from Leeds at the moment. She's an organizer for We the Free. It's like an alternative to the Cube of Truth. They do a diamond. Okay. So she's on the way back to Bristol on a bus.
The other thing I would just quickly add is whole foods is key. Whole foods is really important. So try to stay clear of things like salt, sugar, oil, salt, because those are highly inflammatory and will not help the healing process in the body.
Just ignore this comment. It's from Vegan Mooncat. It's another vegan YouTuber. Can plant-based diet fix GVGs? Me, advanced aging issue. Right, look at me.
He's only 21. How much younger do you want him to get?
I'm Benjamin Button. I'm going back in time. I'm 54 years old, and look at me. I'm like a teen. I'm gangster. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're having a great. What's this now? Race levers sticking in. What kind of doctor is this, Dr. Grumpy? A proper doctor, a real doctor. Mahesh, I've got people can ask Seeta questions as well. Stop leaving it. It's her stream. Message
hijacked it.
Message hijacked it. I got a question about soy and Hashimoto's low functioning thyroid. Does it mess it up further, or is that a myth? Because I think Leon is suffering from it.
Sure. So with the thought process here is to do with something called goitrogens. So goitrogens are supposedly found in things like soya products, cruciferous vegetables as well. And what people say is that goitrogens will essentially block the process of producing thyroid hormone. But actually, this isn't entirely the way it works. Really, this is only going to have any sort of an impact. Firstly, if you if you're lacking iodine, because iodine is an important nutrient to help produce thyroid hormone. So really, only if you're lacking iodine are the goitrogens may have some kind of impact on your thyroid function. The other thing also is by cooking these foods, which I think in most cases we would, you can actually inactivate the goitrogens. So I would say that, a serving of these, even a serving of these a day, cruciferous vegetables, actually more than a serving a day, it will be absolutely fine. I think the other important thing just to note here is Hashimoto's, which is to do with a low thyroid function or hypothyroidism, is one type of an underactive thyroid, which is what we call an autoimmune thyroid problem. So an autoimmune problem is where your own immune system is attacking the body. And in conventional or mainstream medicine, we would say, well, we don't know what's causing an autoimmune problem, but actually, we're finding out more and more that it is to do with gut health. So Hashimoto's is one type. So looking at your immune system, healing the gut, really, really important to trying to improve the thyroid hormone. But also the other aspect of thyroid issues is, are you getting the right kinds of nutrients in? Are you able to utilize and convert thyroid hormone in the body, which very much does depend on things like liver health, gut health. And I think I do have something on nutrients and thyroid function on my website, if I'm not mistaken. So I hope that answers the question. If there's anything further that I'd like to know on thyroid health, it's a special interest of mine, actually.
Oh, right, okay.
So happy to help.
Leon's actually in the Netherlands.
Oh, hi.
So I think they've put something else up there. I'd just like to say a big thank you to Ekaterina Marinova, who's just sent me some money for the wonderful stream. Thank you. It's these two guys that are making it wonderful. No, I'll go that way. Sorry, camera's in reverse. These two guys. I'm so glad they came on. Oh, there we go. How do I know? How can I check that I have got a lack of iodine? I have the autoimmune variant. I've got medicine to improve its function.
Okay. The only way that you can really check your iodine is by doing, well, the accurate way is by doing a 24-hour urine test, which the last I checked is not available through a GP or maybe anywhere in the NHS. Maybe to an endocrinologist, but I'm not sure. So that's the way you could do it. But listen, there's many ways that you can improve your iodine content on a plant-based diet. I mean, there are sort of the sea vegetables that you can get it from. So kind of nori sheets, dulse flakes, these sorts of things, as well as I think things like oat milk. I think Oatly actually have iodine in the milk, right? I think so. Yeah, we can get iodine. I think it also very much depends on where our fruits and vegetables are from, whether the soil contains iodine. That can also help with iodine levels. So that's something else. But
it's got iodine in it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. But yeah, it's important to note that it is thyroid dysfunction is more than just iodine. There is so much more to it. It is to do with having the right nutrients. It's considering whether there is an immune system dysfunction. It's also considering your environment, as well as we discussed about plastics and chemicals and detergents, all these kinds of things that can act as hormone disruptors. So there are all these sorts of things, as well as your lifestyle, a stressed lifestyle, not sleeping enough. All of these sorts of things can have an effect on thyroid function and general hormonal function.
Darren, now I think I was talking to Darren. I was down in Stoke-on-Trent today. I think Darren is the husband or boyfriend of my cousin, second cousin. So he's like, what he's done is something's disengaged from his brain and he's lost his sense of taste and smell. But he says he's starting to sort of taste a little bit of sweetness or something else. Is there anything he can sort of do, or has he just got to wait for the neurons to heal up, or can he promote it? Can he eat really spicy stuff to sort of zing that reaction? Or
well, Sis, I don't know if you want to add to what I'm going to say, but I think it's important to know what's exactly, what may have happened. Is this something that's permanent, or is it something that may come back a little bit? But if he is starting to increasingly get a taste back, well, it's important to note that actually a lot of our taste actually happens in the nose. So there are sets you can get of essential oils, graded essential oils, that you can smell, and that can help with regaining and retuning that sense of smell again. Sis, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, or whether you wanted to.
Yeah, no, I was going to suggest the pure essential oils as well. I think the peppermint one is quite good for that. And there's a couple others, but we'd need to look into that.
I think you can get sets. You can get sets like there's sets, and they have like stage 1, stage 2. I think something like that. So
interesting.
Hopefully there is something that can be done.
I wonder if that would help with people who've lost both senses with COVID as well. I wonder if that's a way forward for them. It's interesting, isn't it? I've got a question here. I'm going to try and answer this a little bit, because I used to do a lot of juicing, and I used to juice chili peppers into my juices, and I found that, is that right, that chili peppers can increase your metabolism, or just temporarily, or can you? Can you do it permanently? You can't do it permanently, can you? Can you just do it in sort of bursts, or?
Yeah, I mean, look, chili peppers can increase that metabolism. Because of the kind of the effect that they can have on the body, they increase the caloric breakdown as well, the use of calories as well. So yeah, they can increase metabolism. I mean, I guess when you touched on our sort of cultural background before. So for us, where we come from originally from South Asia, we have spicy foods or chilies and those sorts of things very often.
We love it.
So for us, it's not a problem about incorporating it into our diet, but certainly, these sorts of things would be great. And I think.
Do you get resistance to them though? I mean, I'm a big chili lover, and I can go hotter and hotter and hotter. Do you get resistance to them, or does the effect stay the same?
I would say that just like any whole plant food, of course, being careful, you're not causing any other issues with having too many chilies. Sometimes you can get a burning stomach and it's not great, but any whole plant foods, I think, if you're able to get those in, you're not going to be doing any harm to yourself, as long as you're listening to your body and it feels right within yourself. Sister, I don't know if you want to just chip in.
No, I was going to say that as well. I think the key thing is to just listen to your body, and your body will tell you if it's too much.
Do you know, it's funny you should say that. Sorry to interrupt, but it's funny you should say that, because sometimes I've started listening to my body a lot since I went vegan, and just on a side note, I haven't been ill once in the 5 years that I've been vegan. Not once. I used to be ill 2-3 times a year with a sore throat. My immune system is like A1 now. I feel it. I feel the burn, and I think, I'm going to be ill in the morning. I'm going to finally be ill, and then the morning's gone. And it's amazing. But what you're saying about listening to your body is, sometimes I've always got different things in the cupboards everywhere, and sometimes I crave a particular thing, and I wonder, is my body craving that, so I go to that particular thing because it wants a particular nutrient? And I think the body's very clever like that, and I'm starting to believe that.
I think I think that is the case.
No, I do think the same as well. I just wanted to mention about that metabolism bit again as well, very quickly. The other important thing is about the production of energy in our cells. So our cells need a lot of B vitamins, magnesium, glucose, these sorts of things to keep the cellular processes going, to keep the muscles going, all these sorts of things. Where do you find that? You find that in whole plant foods. That's where you find these nutrients. So by eating a whole food plant-based diet, you can naturally improve your metabolism. And it's, of course, the other important thing is that we've already touched on it, thyroid function, making sure that these parameters are all good and all these functions in the body are working well. That's obviously very important for metabolism, because a low thyroid function can reduce metabolic functioning as well. So, yeah.
And what about the new? I call it the new kid on the block. Okay, but it's not the new kid on the block. It's been around for thousands of years, and it's been used for thousands of years. And it's this question from Darren again, which is, would you recommend CBD for pain relief, and does it have any other benefits?
Sis, do you wanna take that, and then I can add, or do you want me to take it?
I mean, yeah, I'm not too familiar about CBD, but
Yeah.
I know it is used in certain conditions like MS and a few other conditions. But I wouldn't feel comfortable giving it a CBD
No.
myself.
I mean, it's still kind of like a newish area for me as well.
Yeah.
There's so much research out there, and there's a you could research and study the system within your body, as to how CBD works in the body. It's amazing. For pain, I did actually read something in a health magazine that I get, about a study I think that's being done about the use of CBD for chronic pain. And it showed some positive effects of CBD for pain relief. I'm not saying it's going to necessarily reverse the problem that is causing the pain. I'm not sure about that, but certainly there are studies that are showing that it can actually help with pain relief. But not just studies. You get people saying that, hey, I've tried this. This seems to help me. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, innit? There's a lot of anecdotal evidence out there about CBD. I mean, Iodine says it reduces the need for pain medication by up to 50%.
Yeah,
is that scientific fact, or is that just your opinion? And that's the trouble. That's the trouble with this at the moment. That's why I call it the new kid on the block. Because research is down there at the moment.
Yeah,
you know?
I think we've got a massive problem with opioid medications. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about this.
Yeah.
And how they really are not good for the body at all, and for one's general sense of well-being. They're not great at all. And these natural alternatives like CBD are certainly can be another option. And as that person said, I don't know if it's that person's personal experience or something they've read, but I would say that yes, I would agree that I'm sure CBD can reduce the need for pain medications for sure, and I would certainly support that, especially with more and more scientific research coming out that seems to be pointing in that direction. Absolutely,
it does. And just to take a break from the medical side of it, can we just talk a little bit about the issue that's very close to my heart, and it's the animals, because we do tend to go off on tangents, and we do need to bring it back, and the reason that we're here in this room having this conversation, and the reason that all these people are here on this stream, is not just to find out what our vegan diet can do for us, but it's the animals. Could you tell me, Seeta, and then Mesh after, what are you doing as far as activism for the animals? How are you working it into your lifestyle? How are you advocating to people? Do you push that out there about the animals? Because it can be very emotive to some people. But what sort of activism do you do?
Yeah. So I'm a firm believer in leading by example, which is what I mentioned earlier. So it's just leading my day-to-day life, and it's leading that vegan lifestyle. So it's not just what I eat, but it's also what I wear, what I put on my skin, even down to things like the toothpaste that I use. And it's actually on my Instagram. I'm using and I'm an ambassador for the company as well. It's called Boca. And it's the first plastic-free toothpaste company, and they actually use it's refillable as well, so it's zero waste. So that means that there's no sort of damage happening to the marine life with a lot of toothpaste that you get, and a lot of products that you put on your skin as well, which I think a lot of people forget about. So it's just doing little things like that, promoting it on my Instagram as well, making people aware of what actually is in beauty products, skin products, toothpastes, and then finding alternatives. And quite a big passion of mine is finding these vegan businesses that are small and upcoming, and just helping to promote their products and showing people that there are alternatives to everything that they're using. So if you're using a particular cream, like here's a vegan one that you can use. Or if you're using, everyone uses toothpaste, so why don't you try out this vegan toothpaste, which is great for the environment as well. Same with makeup products, perfumes, shampoos, everything like that. So it's just what I like to do is just find alternatives that people can use, and it's just making those simple switches. I don't really go to a lot of like
Events.
marches and things like that, because I feel as though that's not really something that I want to do personally myself. But I think a lot of people do look at me and they do see how I lead my life, and they take quite an interest in that, and then I can signpost them towards these companies. So that's kind of how I like to do it.
Yeah, that was personally my driving force for going vegan was the animals. We've been brought up with this concept of ahimsa, which maybe a lot of people may have heard of, which means non-violence. And when I found out what actually happens in the dairy industry, like my sister, I was vegetarian with not eating any eggs but consuming dairy. When I found out what actually happens, that's it. Yeah. What actually happens in the dairy industry, I thought, well, actually, I thought all my life I've been trying to uphold the value of ahimsa, but then I realized that actually I'm not going far enough, and the suffering that's happening in the dairy industry, it's just as bad, if not worse, than what happens in the meat industry, say, or the egg industry, or whatever. So
it's worse. It's worse. It's prolonged.
Absolutely.
It's 7 years of hell of repetitive rape by humans. It's just disgusting.
Absolutely.
This is why I can't give vegetarians any room to maneuver. I don't give them any time. It's a case of, you're vegetarian, you go vegan now. You've got no excuse. Cut that shit out now.
It makes complete sense. And that was the driving force for me. I have done my fair share of promoting veganism from the aspect of animal welfare, animal protection, and it's still very, very close to my heart. And I sort of also bring it in a more scientific way as well. So it might not be as direct, but I bring it maybe in a bit more of a subtle and scientific way, making people think, well, actually, every mammal drinks the milk of its mum for a certain period of time until they are weaned off it and start consuming solids. It's only humans that continue to drink milk, and not even the milk of their own species, but the milk of a different species, and the different the constituents of the ingredients and the things that are not ingredients, but the things that make up cow's milk compared to human milk, how they're different, and how that can then be linked into human health diseases, because we're consuming the growth fluid of another mammal and into our adult life, which it's just completely unnatural.
I do a lot of stuff online as well, and it's amazing how quickly people become doctors when you tell them you're vegan, and suddenly they become nutrition experts, they become doctors, and there's so much misinformation there. And this is the hard thing. When somebody like yourself, Mesh, and someone like yourself, Seeta, say it because you know, and you've seen the science, people can't dispute it, but it's a constant battle with misinformation. We've got a guy on Twitter now who's promoting vegan, honey is vegan, is his page, and he reckons he's vegan, and he reckons his system of beekeeping is vegan, and we're calling him out, and he's just not accepting it. It's like, what do you do that's different then? The only way you could ethically get honey would be if you went to a bee's nest that was naturally there, not in a man-built hive, and take a little tiny piece of honey. That's the only, or it dripped down underneath onto the tree bark or something like that. That's the only ethical way to take honey off a bee. You know, and that in itself is stealing. So there's a lot of information. So now people are seeing this guy sprouting off saying honey is vegan, and it's a very contentious issue anyway because people don't see it like that. But yeah, so this is what I'm trying to say is it's really nice to have you guys speak out about this, and the fact that you use both your education and both your knowledge to push that out there. I don't expect you to go and stand outside slaughterhouses and throw tomatoes at the drivers or anything like that. But doing what you're doing is just as important. We all need to use our skills that we've been given to get that message out there.
Can I also just, I think it's quite relevant to actually put in a plug-in for another organisation that Seeta and I are part of, which is called WFPB.org. That's the website and that's the name. WFPB.org stands for Whole Food Plant Based, and it is an organisation, a charitable, non-profit organisation, to say, that is promoting a plant-based lifestyle for the health and well-being of humans, animals, and the planet. And in fact, we've just actually opened a school as well, an online school for children, which is a vegan conscious school, which is called Anima Mundi, actually Anima Mundi School. I don't know if there will be a link on this main website or not, but that's actually a project that's just starting this autumn. So there's going to be school children enrolling onto the school where they'll get education in sort of the things you would probably expect, but also wider learning around life in terms of principles of how to live life, how to live an ahimsa life, as well, understanding the importance of nutrition, how we live, veganism, spirituality, getting sort of more connected to yourself and to the planet. So that's a great school. I think I can always find the website for that as well if anybody's interested in looking at that and maybe even enrolling their kids onto that. I can just search it now. Yeah.
That's really cool because because we really do need to stop this brainwashing. I mean, these kids are growing up ill. They're going to grow up ill. They're going to be ill, full stop. You've got to be very lucky nowadays to not have an issue. Rachel Ross has said, I have PCOS. What's that? That's not an off-duty copper, is it? That's a PCSO, isn't it? A PCOS, and I'm worried it will affect my fertility. What would you recommend? And would a plant-based diet help? So this person isn't plant-based, and it's my second cousin. So, yeah.
Seeta, do you want to start?
Yeah, so PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Right.
So that's what it is. And yes, it can unfortunately affect a woman's fertility if they have this condition. Yeah, the short answer is 100% a plant-based diet would definitely help with that condition and can also help improve fertility as well. Mahesh, do you want to explain how that happens?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so with PCOS, you do have an imbalance in hormonal levels. So you may find that you have sort of a higher level of testosterone than would be expected, and this can lead to some of the sort of other symptoms that you might experience with PCOS, such as sort of hair growth in certain areas, and also acne, those sorts of things. So one part is trying to make sure that we rebalance the hormones, which you can do through a plant-based diet. Through sort of examples of foods that we've already mentioned, but also through the process of improving your detoxification pathways in the body as well, through the liver, through the gut. So that's really, really important. And the other important thing about about PCOS is something that is known is this concept of insulin resistance. So insulin is something that controls your sugar levels in the body, but there's this state in the body where the body there's something in the body that's resisting the function of insulin, and so this can lead to things like diabetes because you get high sugars, but this has also been linked into PCOS as well. And this is why in mainstream medicine some ladies may be offered a diabetic medication for
Really?
PCOS treatment or PCOS control. So the process of reversing insulin resistance can be done on a plant-based diet easily. So just as we have doctors in the plant-based world, such as Dr. Neil Barnard, who's a diabetic specialist and talks about reversing diabetes through a plant-based diet, the same sort of thing can be done through for PCOS. By going on a whole food plant-based diet, you can reduce the inflammation, you can reduce the insulin resistance, you can rebalance the hormones, and you have the ability then to be able to reverse the process of PCOS. And there are many stories of women having reversed their PCOS on a plant-based diet. So yeah, it certainly is possible.
Definitely can be done. Yeah.
So Rachel, right, we had the ethic argument today in the kitchen in Stoke. So now you've had the medical sort of evaluation. You've got no reason now. I expect next time I speak to you, you're going to be totally vegan and plant-based. So no excuses. No excuses.
And any help required, we're here. So
yeah. I've linked all these websites. I mean, you two should really start a YouTube channel. You would absolutely. No, I'm being serious. I was going to talk to you about this off camera when we finish the stream, but you really should. It would promote your clinic and everything, mate. This is such a valuable resource. And if you did live streams, you would get thousands on. All right, it'd be a bit of a bind, people asking you this and that, but wow, it would be so cool. And you would attract so many non-vegans.
Yeah.
Something we definitely have to look into. We have talked about it before, right? But we've never managed to take it to the next stage. But
it's so easy. This is it. This is it. You've done it. You're actually doing YouTube now. I mean, how many people out there would love to see Mesh and Seeta do a YouTube channel and do a stream every week? Right? Just put yes in the comments and let us know. If anybody, see yes starting already. If anybody else got any questions, either ethical veganism, any medical ones, I think we're going to run for another 15 minutes and we'll call it a day at 7:30. So. Yes is coming up all the time. Yes.
Just to let you know, I have in our private chat that we had, I've sent a link to the school, to the plant-based school. So feel free to post that for everyone if you like as well.
Yeah. So I'll post that in the comments. So this is for children, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to. I think the age groups are going to sort of increase as time goes on. But with the first intake happening right now, you can have a look. I think the curriculum does include, or will eventually include. So it's got preschool and lower school, middle school and high school will be coming soon. And there's everything about the team, about the mission of the school. But essentially, it's a sort of a conscious plant-based school, online school.
Wow, that is absolutely. I'm going to swear again. That's fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing. It's great. Because I'm not going to be a Manu. I think after talking to you two, I think I could well be around for another 40, 50 years now. I think I'm getting there because this is just amazing. Amazing vegan world.
Yeah, I'd like to give a special thanks and gratitude to Margarita Restrepo, who is the founder of WFPB.org and is the instigator of this wonderful school. So please do support her channels as well, WFPB channels on Instagram and wherever else. And she's got a wonderful magazine as well called Naked Food. Which has great articles on, sort of recipes with whole food plant-based recipes, vegan nutrition articles, and lots of other sort of themes based on sort of planetary well-being and health.
Is that a physical magazine or is that an online magazine?
Both actually. Yeah, it's actually both. I think there may be a link to it via the WFPB website if you can't find it directly online.
Hang on one second. Let me just share the screen and let me. Is that the one?
That's it. That's the one.
Yep. Naked food. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Right.
So, yeah,
well,
please show your support for WFPB Naked Food.
Oh, thanks a lot, Rebecca. Yeah, you know, this is, you know, I get two brilliant people like you on my streams, and this is the content I get. So, I'd like to ask your views about the systems in place. I mean, this factory farming that we do at the moment, and these zoonotic diseases that are appearing. I don't think COVID is I shouldn't have said that now, I'm demonetized, god damn it. So yeah, I don't think it's the last. I don't think it's the most severe, and I think we do a lot more. There's a lot of talk about it being contrived and all this stuff, but every single sort of disease that we've had, Ebola and SARS, and they've all come from our love of confining animals in dark, warm spaces by the thousands. And I don't think we're going to see the end of all this until we actually stop factory farming animals, full stop. What are your views on that?
Yeah, but I think our sister got a little friend come in.
Oh, let's have a look. We always like to see friends on the stream.
A lovely little distraction from.
I know you do.
She's escaped.
Yeah, I look for me about the whole concept of factory farming, and just the wider concept of how we care for animals and the planet. A lot of the ways in which in terms of what we're doing to animals and the planet is, for me, is the concept of what goes around comes back around. So the way we treat others or other things comes back to us. So for me, there is this more higher perspective, almost spiritual kind of outlook to this.
Yeah, I personally call it the karma virus.
That's
I was going to say about karma.
That's it. So it's the karmic cycle, sort of the process of karma, whereby what goes around comes back around. So I think the wider sort of solution to this is we need to look within ourselves, start looking within ourselves, and start to understand and realize the impact that we are having as individuals on the planet, but also collectively as well. And I know that the life we live at the moment, the systems that we live in are not conducive to us being able to look within ourselves as individuals and as a community. So really, it is up to people who are aware of this, who are already practicing this, to really be shining examples of this.
Exactly.
Which is something that I think we can all do in the vegan community, for sure, is be beacons of light in these times, and really helped to bring that shift to humanity and the planet as a whole.
Little question from what used to be Satan Inside. Sorry, mate, I didn't even reckon that. I saw the question earlier, but stuff happened and I missed it completely. But he's saying, can anyone help with cold remedies for a baby under 3 months? What can he do? Any ideas there, people?
You want to start, Seeta?
I'm not sure if I'm not sure about for a baby under 3 months. I don't know. I mean, remedies.
Yeah, my doctor head coming on, and I'm sure it is with Seeta as well. Obviously, making sure that the child is otherwise quite settled and is okay, not having any breathing difficulties or anything like that. That's very, very important. So for acute conditions and serious conditions like that, it's obviously very important to seek some kind of medical attention. But one thing I would certainly say, or certainly try to sort of ask, is what was the pregnancy like with mum? What was the baby's birth? Because the mode of delivery is very important for starting the immune system process in the baby.
Really? How
Very
so?
important. Very important. In fact, you could probably even say that it starts off in the womb. But especially through the birthing process, when a baby is born by a normal delivery, the way the baby comes out and the mouth is open, it's actually taking in the birth canal fluid, which can then actually kind of implants or goes into the gut and starts the process of populating the gut with good bacteria. And the amazing thing about the whole process, I mean, the natural world is amazing. The kinds of bacteria that are there in the birth canal start to actually change around 7 or 8 months, knowing that the baby is going to be born soon. And the kinds of bacteria start changing so that those bacteria can then go into the baby's gut and start populating the gut, allow the gut, the immune system in the gut to know that, hey, these are friendly bacteria, so these are your friends, so don't attack them, keep them there. They're going to help to build up the gut, make it healthy. Whereas when you're born by, say, a cesarean section, which unfortunately, it may not be, it may be in an emergency.
My son was born like that.
Yeah. So
premature.
Yeah, absolutely. So there may be situations where that's not possible. What happens in that case is because you're bypassing the birth canal, you will be exposed to other bacteria, skin bacteria, hospital bacteria, those sorts of things, which can then get into the gut and maybe sort of cause a bit more inflammation and kind of make the immune system in the gut a bit more excited. One solution to that is actually having a swab or a few swabs in the birth canal, so that when the baby is born by a cesarean section, you can smother the baby in those swabs. So hopefully they'll get the bacteria and the fluids from the birth canal. So first thing is, the mode of delivery is really important to the baby's health and the immune progression. The other thing is whether mum is breastfeeding or not. That's another very important factor as well, because we know that breast milk can help with immune function and immune tolerance in the baby. So that's very, very important as well. So those are the two main things I would look at. I would want to be I would be careful in giving too much advice that we would normally give to adults, such as, some of the things we might advise in adults is things like inhaling menthol and peppermint oil and these sorts of things. I mean, you'd want to be careful with that with a baby, but maybe if you had some hot water or warm water in a little bowl and you put a bit of essential oil in that, maybe, and keep it sort of on the far side of the room, maybe the slight kind of aroma and that might actually help with opening the airways of the baby as well. Other sort of symptomatic things would be water, saline, salt water drops for the baby's nose as well, to try and help open up the airways a little bit. So these are probably some things to consider thinking about and looking at. But certainly the aspect of birthing, breastfeeding, but also other things I would also add as well that can put stresses on the body. So making sure things like mobile data devices, Wi-Fi's are turned off when you don't need them, because these can all cause stress on the body, not just for the baby, but for us as well.
Really? Is that fact? Is that fact?
Sure, absolutely.
Is it
absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. There's I know there's probably a lot of information, or in mainstream media, there's a lot about how these electromagnetic frequencies are absolutely fine, but actually there's a lot of scientific research that says otherwise, that a lot of these electromagnetic frequencies on the shorter wavelength spectrum do actually cause a lot of stress in the body, can damage your cells, DNA, these sorts of things. So even these sorts of things can have an impact on healing and sort of the general process of inflammation in the body.
Wow, every day is a school day. So basically you could relieve the strain on the NHS by becoming vegan and having a plant-based diet. Correct, mate, but this is why vegans bang their heads against walls, because we know this is true, right? Yeah. And then we've got to get experts like Seeta and Mesh on just to say, yes, Dan's right what he's saying. He's not talking bullshit. He's not plucking facts out of the air.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like everyone I speak to, I say, don't take my word for it. Go and research yourself. Yeah. This is facts.
Yeah.
And there's so much evidence out there as well.
Yeah,
if people
absolutely.
are open to just educate themselves. I
Absolutely.
think there's a lot out there.
Yeah. I'm just looking at a couple of the comments come in. Yeah. As we're all sat here, our device is connected.
Yeah.
I mean, when you need it, you need it. But the thing is, when you don't need it, say maybe at night, or when you go out or whatever, just turn it off and just try and reduce the exposure in the house.
I live in the north of England, and I have like 15 phones strapped to my head when I go to bed because I'm that hard. You see.
There's another important point, sorry, just to mention as well, is Leon mentions about blue light causing migraines. That's very true. Blue light is natural daylight. That's what kind of helps to bring our cortisol levels up and kind of gives us that sort of get up and go feeling in the morning. But it's times like when it starts, after sunset, that's when the blue light really starts to reduce. So if we are exposed to sort of just, artificial lights, TV screens, laptops, phones, that's all blue light, and that can actually keep our cortisol levels up, reduce our melatonin, which helps us to sleep. Melatonin is really important for inflammation as well, so it can help reduce inflammation. So if we're constantly sort of in blue light, then that's not going to help with sort of inflammation. You can get migraines with that, absolutely, seizures, he said as well. So so absolutely, so minimizing blue light exposure, especially after sundown, is really, really important.
I mean, guys, if you've got a phone now, most devices, if you go into the settings menu, you should have a blue light filter on there. And you should. Most laptops do as well, don't they?
Well, I think some of the newer devices, they actually kind of do sync in with kind of sunset times as well. So it can automatically do that.
Yeah,
so.
I think you need to actually activate it. But if you go through your phone setting, I have got one there. It brings up a blue filter, because if you think you're not sleeping at night, this could be a factor. Staring at screens like this, and
absolutely.
Right, guys, if there's any more questions, anything at all, please. Oh, hang on, I'm getting told off. My pronouns were right there. You said he. Come on, right? Okay. Leon's pronouns are they, them. He always pulls us on it. See, I've done it. They always pull us on them. It's hard, Leon, when you've got to realise. But any more? Sorry about that, Leon. It's a very hard habit to break. Any more questions? Because we're going to run for another 4 or 5 minutes, and then that's it.
Quick tip on migraines as well. I think Ginger was already mentioned, right? I think Seeta mentioned that. Yeah. Another one is just as you kind of feel the migraine headache come on, a bit of lavender oil, and get a little lavender oil and just rub it under your nose. That's been shown to be at least, in fact, even more effective than medications like sumatriptan and these sorts of things. So,
ancient remedies again, Mesh. Ancient remedies.
This
is what Rockefeller said was quackery and snake oil. Yep. It's just, I can't believe it. It's just so infuriating that they've actually done this to us. It's just. Let's have a look.
It's just going back to the basics, isn't it?
Yeah, going back to what our ancestors knew. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Tree bark is what, aspirin? Tree bark.
Absolutely, exactly.
Yeah.
What about chronic pancreatitis? What foods do we avoid for pancreatitis? That's a good question.
So again, I think it would just be all of your pro-inflammatory foods. So to avoid all the foods that cause inflammation. So avoiding, again, just be on a whole food plant-based diet, so avoiding your salt, your sugar, your oil intake as well, and all of your processed refined foods as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, here's another true or false as well. Drinking coffee and tea, like a big mug of coffee or a big mug of tea. I know it's a diuretic, but drinking that coffee, would it hydrate you? Or does the caffeine actually dehydrate you? Do you get any benefit from that? And to add to that question, how much water should we really drink in a day? Is it 2 litres? Is it 1.5? Or is it, there's so much misinformation in that. I want to know.
Sorry, Susie, yeah, go on.
I think I would say it probably does dehydrate you having the caffeine. That's yeah, my answer to that part of the question. In terms of the water intake, I'd say, I'd probably say about 2 to 3. Well, it depends on the person really, and the sort of lifestyle that they lead. But I'd say minimum probably about eight glasses a day is what I would go for.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. Coffee, tea, these sorts of things for me can be dehydrating. So it's more about getting in natural good water, just water on its own, to hydrate you. I agree that again, the amount of water that one needs probably varies from person to person. It very much depends on their activities. Also depends very much, I guess, on the weather as well.
Yeah.
That's another thing as well. But I mean, for me personally, I on average take in about 2 to 3 liters a day, because that's just what I feel is right for me. I think we can all be doing better.
Yeah.
With
I mean, I'm
consuming
rubbish.
drinking more
I
water.
mean, for a start, I don't like the taste of tap water, but I have bought. I bought a purifier that actually steams it. Yeah, with filters.
I've just bought this for my sister actually.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. See if it's similar to mine.
It's called the Berkey water filter. I've been using this for a few years now at home myself. It works on the concept of reverse osmosis, and it's a really, really excellent filter. It's like a double barrel filter, and you put water in the top barrel. The filters are there in the top barrel, and it filters through into the bottom barrel. And the filters can last for up to 11 years actually, so you don't actually have to be replacing them every month or 6 weeks or whatever it may be. Dean's asked a question: should we use water filters? 100% yes. 100% yes. Right, yes, the one on screen is 12 liters. I think the most common one is the 8.5 liter one, but you can get different sizes.
So okay, so that is quite pricey. It's very pricey. Is there any other way we can purify our water on it? What about boiling water and cooling it?
It's not the same. But bear in mind that is expensive. But remember, you don't actually have to be changing the filters every month, 6 weeks, 2 months like other filters. These last up to about 11. Yeah. These last up to about 11 years. Wow. And there's instructions on how to check that it's all working as well, in good working order. So you can imagine over those 10 or 11 years, actually, it's not that much.
Yeah. And especially if you're buying bottled water and stuff, you'd be saving a lot of money. By not having bottled water.
So it does outweigh the pros outweigh the cons. Yes, it's a bit pricey, but I mean, we do live in a sort of false economy, don't we? It's like you buy these cheap things at the last minutes, and then you get something else, and by the time you've got to, like you said, 10 years down the line, you've probably spent twice that. You know?
Right, right, exactly. So it's a good long-term buy, and in terms of it is better than boiling water and letting it cool down. There's so much in tap water. Fluoride, chlorine is just scratching the surface, right? That's just scratching the surface. But you will have sort of other contaminants in there, heavy metals, potentially components of medications in there as well. So all of these sorts of things. So these filters have been shown to be able to actually filter these things away. So
I'm sure that there are other things as well out there on the market. I think someone did mention something there.
Goes your main for 60.
I'll put it on again. Yeah, you can buy something that goes directly onto your main for 60 quid. So just keep your eye, people, because I've never liked water. I just, it's just. Yeah, and you can't put a price on your health. Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
To Leon, yes. Best to have a good quality filter for you for water. 100%.
A distiller. Is that the steam one? Is a distiller the steam one?
I think it is, but I would say that probably it's not, as because I think I remember looking into this at the time, and I definitely decided to go for for this sort of a reverse osmosis type filter.
Yeah, well, mine steams and then it condenses and then it goes through a charcoal filter as well. So it's like a double. And it's rainwater. It's basically rainwater once you get it in. And it's beautiful. I've never tasted water so beautiful.
I know, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's so great.
Okay, guys, right. We're going to end the stream there. I want to say a big thank you to Seeta and to Mesh. If there's anything you guys want to say before we go to the people out there, just here's your chance now. We'll go Seeta first. Ladies first, of course.
Oh, if I want to say anything, sorry.
Yeah, have you got anything to say to the people out there? If you want to ask them to follow you on Instagram, if you want, if you anything you want, you say it now.
Yeah, no, the support would be great. If you guys can follow me on my Instagram page. I'm also going to be releasing a free ebook, which is called Your Guide to Going Vegan. So that's just got some recipes on there and some like nutrition little tips and stuff. So I'll be releasing that in about a month's time. And if there's anyone that would like to ask any further questions, then feel free to DM me on Instagram.
There you have it, folks. She's at your service.
Yeah.
Okay, Mesh, anything you want to say?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Thank you to everyone who's been on here. Thank you for your comments and all your questions. I hope it's been useful. Keep strong. Keep the vegan message going. We can do this all together. We can do this. If anybody does want to have any further advice or consulting for any sort of chronic health issues at all, then please do get in touch with me at thegreendoctor.uk. I do have an Instagram account which I should probably be more active on, which is _thegreendoctor_. And I also have my YouTube page, personal YouTube Facebook page, which is Mesh Shah. And I also have the Green Doctor Facebook page as well. So,
you probably should make a YouTube page as well.
Yeah,
probably. I'm going to drill you once we've ended this stream. So listen, people, thank you so much to everybody who joined. Thank you for the super chats. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me for everyone joining me on this stream as well. It's great to have you all on board. You're amazing people. Keep doing what you're doing, everybody. And don't forget, save the animals, save the planet, save yourself. Go vegan, please. Just go vegan.